Yeah, my favorite comic book character has to be, just right now, I think it changes over time periods. Like, I like to have, like, consistent change. So, like, this year I'll be focused on the character or whatever, just because I think the story impacts the way that, you know, what I'm going through at that point in my life. I would say my favorite character as of now has to be Batman. And the reason being is because his rationalization is on such a next level, and the way he breaks things down, it's like he's a mastermind. So I kind of use that same thing in my life too, because it's like, especially in this point in my career, it's like all the moves that I do is like very articulate, and it's like super, like, you know, calculated and what have you, especially since I'm getting older. So yeah, I would have to say it's him, you know, mastermind, because he keeps quiet, and then he just, you know, he just has like a whole book on how to like kill the Justice League if he wants to, you know what I mean? Like, he just plans for like that rainy day, and I think that's just like an amazing trait to have, even though he doesn't have superpowers. I mean, I think the brain is something that people are focusing nowadays a little bit more on too, because what you could do with it, like the power of like your mind, is like crazy, and he has that, and I try to put it, integrate it into my life sometimes. My favorite Batman films were the Christopher Nolan trilogy, and it was The Dark Knight. That's my favorite one specifically because the balance of craziness, you know, you have both people being crazy, both people wearing suits. You know, you have Batman as equally crazy, and you have Joker as equally crazy. Watching that and the way he directed it and put things into it, it kind of reminds me of the comic book The Killing Joke, because it's like, I thought about that the whole time, because you have these two crazies going at each other, but each is sane in its own way, and it's like they need each other to be fulfilled, you know, to keep it going. It's a game, you know, for both of them, but it's like you do need that equal crazy mastermind that you are in another sense, the person who's like the yin and yang, you know, who's doing the yang, and then it's how it is. What I'm really into right now is the Batman Beyond graphic novels, and I think the Batman Beyond one is dope because you have like this person who doesn't know what to do in his life, and the cool thing about it is, like, Terry McGinnis, you know, the protagonist, is like, he's not the situation Bruce Wayne was. It's more of like, now you have this dude who's like from the hood and has like nothing. He has like a single mother, and he's like trying to get out. Him trying to get out, he crossed paths with somebody who's like a legend, like a living legend. So it's like, and it affects me too, because it's like, that's kind of how my life is in reality, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's cool because he meets Batman, and for me, I met, you know, different people along the way. I met Yasin Bey, I met, you know, Lupe, I met all these people who kind of like, you know, shaped me into who I am. And it's crazy because it's like, you see his struggles of being like, you know, a young adolescent, and then you also see him being like his fulfilled, you know, potential where he gets to, and it's cool to see it. Like, I don't want to give too much away, but when you see his growth, it's amazing, especially having that mentor all the time, like on his, you know, his comm link, always like, yo, what should I do, you know, in this situation? It's like, well, I did this, you know, back in the day, you know, in the 90s, and he's like in 2040 or something, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a different parallel, but it's great to read it and really get into it. I think you guys would love it.